and gentlemen, today is going to be a little bit of a different style video that is going to be very, very inspired by Mr. Waffles, who does a lot of whiteboard videos where he talks about zombie elements, but most of the time he talks about like overarching themes. He talks about out of game themes, talks about storyline, but I think me today is going to talk about that guy, Totenreich, all right? Because I left my pages blank, right? And that was on purpose, not just because I want to dive into the details of the thoughts that I have about this map in a little bit of a different, unique style, because as I'm going to jot these down, I'm going to think of more things to do as I'm going through the video. I want you guys to kind of just see my raw reaction and review on this map. Totenreich is a little bit different than the other zombie maps because I feel like they've really swung for the fences. They've kind of done a little bit of an in-between area between nostalgia baiting and pushing forward. And I like that concept a lot. And so I wanted to see how you guys would react to some of my thoughts on this game. If you guys enjoy, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. With that being said, let's get into it. Now, most of you guys watching, and myself included, are going to be people that aren't a part of the casual audience, or at least aren't a part of the casual audience in terms of like the mega casual, right? People that just hop on and play. And I think that is kind of a thing that gets lost a lot when we talk about zombie maps, when we talk about what is like the most important part of zombie maps. In our mind, I go straight to, oh, I want a great boss fight. Oh, I want a great Easter egg. Oh, I want the story to be amazing. But I was kind of having a discussion with other people that really don't play zombie maps in terms of like looking at guides, people that don't play zombie maps like the insane amounts. And what do you think is the most important thing to them? What do they remember more than anything? They don't remember the Easter eggs. They don't remember the extra stuff. They don't remember the swords or something special. They remember two things. They remember the atmosphere and the wonder weapon. Those are the most two important things about a zombies map. So those are the two things we're going to talk about the most. And we'll start up here with atmosphere. What is the atmosphere of Totenreich? Well, it's a Norwegian fishing village, right? It is a Norwegian fishing village that doesn't really feel Norwegian. It has tried to bring in the group 935 elements into this map, but walking around the zombies map, you wouldn't see anything sort of mind-blowing. In fact, I think the atmosphere of this map, I'm not gonna lie, is a bit surface level. So I guess my question is, how do we feel, right? What do I mean by the map being surface level? I wrote it down a little bit, but I think the main thing that I feel is if you did not tell me where the location of the zombies map, if there was no blog post, no information, and you just said, hey, this right here, this is a Norwegian zombies map, I would have been like, are you sure? If you would have said, hey, put me in the zombies map, show me a picture of Totenreich, show me a gameplay of Totenreich, where are we? I would have said, I don't know, like fucking somewhere in the Arctic Circle. I don't know, could be Sweden, could be Norway, could be Finland, could be Greenland, could be many places. When you walk around the zombies map, do you see a lot of Norwegian themes within the map? Like ones that you point and go, yep, that's Norwegian. This isn't including wonder weapon. This isn't including side Easter eggs. This isn't including like the overarching theme, right? This includes the map itself, the looks, the aesthetics. Does that scream to you Norwegian fishing village? It screams to me fishing village. I 100% get that. Does it scream to you Norwegian? I would say no. Does it scream to you Norwegian with Nazi influence? I would double say no. Now, this is a topic that sometimes can get blown a little bit out of proportion and can see like a little bit, you know, kind of a sore subject to some people. But when you have maps that directly influenced by Nazism, right? Such a historical event, it feels almost laughable to not include the symbolism of the historical events. We need Nazi symbolism in a map where the Nazis waged war and took over. It's just history. That would be like if you made a map about the American Revolution and you didn't see a single American flag in there, like the 13-star one. It would be like seeing an Alamo map about the Texas Revolution against Mexico and America, and you see no imagery of the Mexican-American War, you see no Texas flags, you don't even see the Alamo. It is just history. It's a part of what happened. And for some reason, people are so afraid in gaming, specifically Call of Duty, to involve that symbolism in such manner. I feel like nobody would have been on Call of Duty's ass in terms of the people that matter. Nobody would have been on their ass if they showed it that symbolism. That symbolism, Iron Cross. That symbolism could be a swastika. That symbolism could be just the horrors of Germans and what they do to people. Showing that horror, showing that, I feel would have had much of an impact on this map. A map that already tries to have in-map storytelling more than other zombie maps. A map with a radio on the side Easter egg, which we'll talk about with the extras, that shows the horrors of Richtofen himself. I feel like we are at an abandoned fishing village, not a pillaged fishing village. We're at a fishing village where it looks like everyone just kind of walked up and left. Not a fishing village where you can see the people of the village were slaughtered and massacred by the evils that Germany is. I believe we need that symbolism. And that's why I write there, it's surface level. It's surface level. The 9.3 fusion feels underbaked, and you couldn't tell where the map is without description. You couldn't tell. That is, I think, the biggest problem about this map's atmosphere. That no matter what, I find myself going, yeah, I mean, I kind of see it. Yeah, I mean, I guess. That's where I think this map kind of falls off. Now, you go through some of the other elements of this map, you know, some of the wonder weapons, some of the gameplay, some of the storyline, then yes, you 100% understand it. It's some great elements in there. But in terms of just like, hey, let's play a match to round 30. Let's do none of the quests and just play zombies like it's just Call of Duty Zombies, like it's Kino der Toten. You would not find that to be anywhere involved. Another thing I find out about this map as well is there's a lot of elements of this map from previous zombie maps. This map somehow in some way tries to be so unique, but also so recognizable. You know, the most obvious point of that is the robot, right, from Origins. But not just that, the layout itself, how it is a sort of circle around a central island. And I'll kind of show you what I mean here. This is kind of the map's layout in a very, very simplistic manner. You have the spawn room, which is this bottom cube. The lighthouse right there. You have this center fishing island right here. And then these points out here are the zip lines, right? That is kind of the map. This looks like 50% of the maps that we've seen in Black Ops 6 and Black Ops 7. I had a video with Cinerax. He made a great point about this. Look at this map and compare it to the layout of the tomb. How does a tomb lay out? You have the spawn, right? And then in the spawn, you have the circle, like sort of tunnel around with a little back area having a little bit, the back area having a little bit more in the back. And then you have the portals to the center area. Let's take another map for an example here. Let's do Asher Malorum, right? Asher Malorum. So spawn, right? You have your two lanes. You have your museum lane, and then you have your telescope lane, and then you have the pack-a-punch. So you go around this lane here, pack-a-punch. Then you go back around this way, other lane. Then you have a little central area that can connect to 3 sides of the map. 4 actually, because this area comes down this towards spawn. Guys, what does that look like? Doesn't that just look like another version of Totenreich? Let's do Ashes, right? Ashes is a little bit different, but let me show you Ashes. Okay, so Ashes has a spawn, right? Okay, so here's spawn for Ashes, and then it has a figure 8 style. This is Ashwood right here. This right here is Exit 115. You have Zarya, you have Blackwater, and you have Van Dorn. A central hub with 4 different locations that go towards it. Now, yes, these don't connect to each other like the other maps do, but these do with the car areas, and if you can, just the jump pads, right? So consistently, we see zombie maps with a very similar style, a central area circled by other areas, and then kind of a little bit of an outlier at spawn in the back of the map. Why is that such a consistent style used? It's a bit of a pattern that I've noticed. I noticed a similar thing with Black Ops 3, where I felt like a lot of the zombie maps used kind of the Doris formula, a central hub with 3 kind of outspreading points, right? You saw that in Gerard Crovey. You saw that a little bit in Zetsumoto Shima with the bunker. You saw that a little bit more. But it's like every map here, and you see it with previous games, Revelations has this problem. 9 has the same kind of thing. It's like every single game, for some reason, has a spawn point, a circle area around it, and a central hub. And it's just like, they make zombie maps feel a little bit repetitive. They make them feel a little bit ununique. And the layout, in my opinion, feels extremely lazy. That's just my opinion. I think it's a little bit of unfortunateness of it, but that's just kind of the way I see it. For some reason, that plays into the atmosphere. So you have a map that is supposedly supposed to be a Nordic theme with Nordic mythology themed map, an abandoned fishing village, not just abandoned, but a pillaged and slaughtered fishing village with so many secrets transported to the dark ether, with the Nazi regime taking over and slaughtering their people. But unfortunately, you have it to where this is going to be a map that feels just like another circle with the center island. And really, when I talk about these themes, you don't see it within the zombies map. So for the atmosphere, there's some great elements to it. The music is fantastic, and that really played into the atmosphere. I think the music for every zombies map has been fucking awesome, but especially this map, the music was fantastic. I think that there is some good elements of it. I like the boss, being included in the map, but I think the best atmospheric elements of this map aren't in the base atmosphere, but are in the atmosphere when you do the wonder weapon, when you do the storyline, when you do the side Easter eggs, when you do the main Easter egg. That's where I see the atmosphere be the most consistent, not the base game where I feel it is the most important. And one more thing about this 935 element is the sort of science-ness of this. So we don't get the 935 element. We don't get the German element of this. We don't get the Norwegian element, but surely we can get sort of the scientific element of the zombies map, with it being so heavily, showed to us that this is where they created the robots to win this war. But we don't see that as well. We see one shitty blueprint of the robot, and it doesn't really go into any detail. The intel about the robots and stuff like that is a little bit lackluster. And really, walking to the zombies map, I couldn't learn how to make the robot. Where I feel like in previous games, if I walk to the zombies map, I can learn how to do some cool shit and see some awesome innovations. And I feel like those little things, those little details are missing as well in this map as well. Now, I would say when you create a zombies map, atmosphere is 60-70% of the battle. It is the most important thing about a zombies map. Number one is atmosphere. If that is 60% of the battle, if that is 60% of the battle is atmosphere, what percentage of that would you say that Treyarch nailed it? A 5 out of 10. Because I think the music is really good. I think the layout is repetitive, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just repetitive. I think that there's some really cool elements in the map. I love the kind of, you get introduced to the map and the ice monster kind of steps away. I love that. The problem with that though is you'll never see him again if you don't do anything else. If you just play zombies, you'll never see him again. There's some cool elements of it. I love the church in this map. I like some of the things there, but overall, there's a lot more to be desired. So I would give the atmosphere an average 5 out of 10. And this is a 5 out of 10 in all zombie maps, because I think it's a little bit unfair to say this zombies map is an 8 out of 10 in modern zombies. Sure, this atmosphere is fantastic for modern zombies, but man, compare this atmosphere to 9. Compare this atmosphere to Mob of the Dead. Compare this atmosphere to Origins, what this map is obviously trying to not replicate, but obviously inspired by. Compare this atmosphere to other zombie maps. It's just not there. Now let's talk about the wonder weapon. So the wonder weapon in this map is called the Jotun Star. Jotun Star. So this wonder weapon, in my opinion, is the second most important aspect of modern zombies. It is 25% of a zombies map, how it is remembered. That is just my personal opinion. I feel this way because when you talk about the classics for zombies, when you talk about older games, especially to the regular audience, they go, oh my god, yeah, I love that squid gun from Black Ops 3. Oh, I love those stabs. Oh yeah, that thunder gun is awesome, dude. Revive me of the ray gun. That is something that you see a lot in zombies discussions, especially classic zombies. So wonder weapon is a huge discussion. The Jotun Star, once again, follows a format that modern zombies, in my opinion, has sort of solely relied on, with the exception of one, and I feel it's not good enough. I talked about this in another video that I just posted yesterday when you see this video, and here's what I mean. We'll go through every wonder weapon here. So we'll start off with the Jotun Star. It is an infinite ammo, high damage early round wonder weapon that damage dropped off at around 50. Then you have the Blundergat. Super high amounts of ammo, insane amount of ammo, basically infinite with that kind of gun. Dies off at around 50. The non-charge attack dies around even quicker. Okay. The Ligma. Infinite ammo. Doesn't die off around 50, but instead doesn't kill enough zombies at once. Okay. The Necroflu Gauntlet dies off at around 50 as well, around 60. Infinite ammo. The Gorgafex dies off even quicker. Ammo count's not even as good. That wonder weapon is just shit. The Mark IIs dies off at around 40. Tons of ammo. The Ice Staff, there's your exception. A weapon that came from Black Ops 2. Then you have the swords, infinite ammo, but at first can only kill one zombie at a time. And then after that, kill 2 zombies at a time only. Doesn't kill fast enough. Also dies off around 50, not because of the damage, but because the zombies are just too fast. Then you have the Beam Smasher, dies off even quicker than around 50, like around 35. That shit dies off, especially against the like elites and special enemies. And then you have the Jet Gun, which infinite ammo once again, and the Beam Smasher super high ammo count. Infinite ammo once again, but it doesn't die off. It just dies, it goes much slower, and it does kind of die off at around 50 as well. What do all these wonder weapons have in common? Infinite ammo, dies off at around 50, and once you get past that, what are you supposed to do? Use traps? How is it that the high round strategy of this map is a Kogart, or a Voyak, and a trap? How is that a thing? Why is it that for the past 8 zombie maps, whatever it may be, that the wonder weapon isn't the high round strategy? It's the traps. It is the ray gun sometimes. It is regular weapons. It's just not good enough. You can't even use a melee-based wonder weapon with toxic growth once you hit round 50. I tried it with the Lighthouse. It doesn't work. I want to make a video. My favorite high round strategy with the new wonder weapon. I can't. The wonder weapon isn't strong enough. It is an unfortunate pattern. And I think it's mainly because of the ammo boxes. And we're getting into modern zombies mechanics a little bit too much here. But because of the way the ammo boxes work, I find it that wonder weapons are underpowered. Because ammo is no longer the counter to super powerful wonder weapons. It used to be you either have a wonder weapon that isn't as powerful with high ammo, or you have a wonder weapon that's insanely powerful, but you get like max 30 shots. The wave gun, the baby gun, the thunder gun, the apothecary servant. You get a max like 30 shots. And yes, even the ice staff. I know it has 75 bullets, but you charge it, you get 36. Why is that such a big issue? Well, I think that this weapon no longer exists. You no longer see modern zombies have the powerful wonder weapon with low ammo count simply because ammo is so easy to get nowadays. It's one thing that makes max ammos feel useless, and it's another thing that makes the wonder weapon feel useless, right? So why is it that my bullet gun is super underpowered in zombies? Well, you can say, hey, there's tier 4 Pack-a-Punch, and that makes it much stronger. Guys, Curse Mode's health cap is around 85, so even if, you know, the tier 4 makes you go to around 55, basically the same thing. In fact, it's much worse for you. So let's not even talk about that. Let's also talk about something a little bit more, because we talked about the modern formula. Let's talk about the design of the wonder weapon. And this is where I think we're gonna get really positive, because the wonder weapon itself, the design of it, is super strong. It is a very strong wonder weapon, a very fun design, and when you have it to round 50, it's my favorite wonder weapon in the game. It's super fun. It does a lot of great killing. Basically, with melee macchiato, you're basically invincible. It's super fun, dude. I think that it's awesome. The design is really good. The lantern is super cool. And if you go right here, the quest of the wonder weapon is awesome as well. The way you grab it, super simplistic, straightforward. A lot of people don't like the constellation step. I don't understand why. I feel like it's a pretty straightforward step. I know that it may be a little bit hard to see the constellations in like that middle table, but I think it's pretty simple. And then you get the souls, and then the island jumping part, we jump from rock to rock around the lighthouse that has drive a car come up and some awesome music. And then you get to the top of the lighthouse, you get yourself kind of a second to breathe. I think that is one of the coolest one weapon quests of all time, and I'm a huge fan of that. But more downside here, it's only one wonder weapon, right? You only get one. It has no upgrade quest. It's like every wonder weapon nowadays, they solely rely on Pack-a-Punch being the wonder weapon quest. We got a little bit of a difference with Paradox Junction. I was like, okay, shit. But then what? Every wonder weapon after that, like, is you just Pack-a-Punch it? The only wonder weapons with wonder weapon quests are the worst ones. You do have a good story with it, though. You have a really good story with this wonder weapon, with Astrid. You know, it goes a little bit into the atmosphere part, where I think the atmosphere is strong, but I think the atmosphere is strong in the wonder weapon section, not with the map section, because the Astrid part of her talking about the people of the fishing village, how they came in and slaughtered them, and how she had friends and family there, and how she built up a resistance to try to fight them back. It didn't work. I thought that was very fun, very strong, and I love that dialogue. And then the little last part, it says little gadgets along with it. That is sort of the uniqueness of the wonder weapon, how you can charge attacks, how you can throw the fire, how it'll, make you kind of stay warm in the ice rounds if you have fire in there. So things like that is the little gadgets along with it that I have there on the bottom. This wonder weapon is one of the coolest looking wonder weapons I think I've ever seen. It has super awesome mechanics. It is super fun till round 50, but the big problem with it is that after round 50, it's pretty pointless. There's only one of them. There's no wonder weapon quest upgrade, and they feel like they're too reliant on Pack-a-Punch being the way that you go up on the wonder weapons instead of the quest. So it's hard to judge. I don't want to be too negative about it because it is my favorite wonder weapon in Black Ops 7 Zombies, but it's my favorite wonder weapon in a game where I think wonder weapons aren't strong enough. But I feel like my grade of this wonder weapon is just going to be good. I think it's a really good wonder weapon, especially till round 50, but I find this wonder weapon similar to like the Mark IIIs. It's strong, but then it has a very steep drop off. So for this wonder weapon section, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 for the wonder weapon. So this part right here, this zombies map, for 60% and 25%, 85% of the zombies map, I think are credit to the atmosphere and the wonder weapon. And I gave 80%, 85% of the zombies map a 6 out of 10. That is kind of insane. Now, if I compared it to only the other modern zombie maps, I think I'd give atmosphere 7. I think I'd give wonder weapon like an 8, because I think it's stronger than a lot of the other modern ones outside of Cold War. But in all of zombies, I think this is a very fair ranking. All right, so now let's kind of transition a little bit. We'll go to this side and let's look at story. Okay, so the storyline of this zombies map is kind of mixed into two different elements. You have the main story going on with the Easter egg and all that, and then you have the in-match story. So we're gonna divide this into two, right? We have the main story, and then you have the, let's just do the same map story, right? So let's start with the main story here. I feel that this is kind of run-of-the-mill with the main story. I feel like the main story is just Black Ops 3 again. I feel that the main story is kind of exactly what we expected with very little twists and turns, right? The intro cutscene of this map is kind of story-based, but it's more just like map introduction-based. It's not like so little story-based like Ash from Alorum, where it's just trying to be fun, but it's not heavily story-based like Paradox Junction, where it is feeling just mainly story and nothing else. It's a little bit of an in-between area. This storyline is supposed to mainly focus on Richtofen and Weaver, right? And I think that's interesting because I think a lot of people just assume that Richtofen and Weaver, as the kind of like leaders of the groups, would be the last map. And they aren't. The last map is going to be Tokyo, right? So that is pretty cool, but it's just whatever. It's kind of a curveball that makes the game, I guess, a little bit less predictable. Richtofen and Weaver, I think, in my opinion, are probably the two characters that I think people were the most excited to learn about with each crew. I think that Richtofen specifically is the character the best fleshed out of any character in Modern Zombies. I think that him being painted as a villain is super fun. I think that Treyarch is a little bit pissed off at the community because they think themselves, wow, you guys love this guy Richtofen. Let's show you how horrible he is. And I think they did a really good job at that. But if we talk about just the main character, the main Easter egg, Weaver is non-existent. He's non-existent in this main Easter egg. He is supposed to be a huge part of this map. This is his map, right? And in the previous maps, whether it is Gray getting her soul back, whether it is Maya getting her soul back, they were a part of the map, at least a little bit. The map wasn't kind of like Dempsey-centric. The map wasn't Nikolai-centric. It was those character-centric, Shadowsmith-centric. This map is Richtofen-centric. I like that, but Weaver is basically unseeable in this map. So 50% of what the story is supposed to be a part is like not even there. Now, Richtofen's story is a bit different. The Easter egg is all about Richtofen, all about the map. This is where I think the atmosphere is the strongest. This is where I think the wonder weapon shines. This is where all parts of this map I think shine, is the story of this map. The story of the map is that you are rebuilding the robots that were specifically designed to destroy the Shadowsmith. You are rebuilding it to once fight it again. So you're rebuilding the robot, right? You're rebuilding the robot to fight Dravakar, right? That is the story of the Zombies map. But you get a couple other elements in there as well. But I think that the Zombies map is overall strong in this aspect. I think the Easter egg makes sense. It's a little bit more straightforward than maybe an Easter egg like Paradox, where I thought that that map's Easter egg was actually a lot of fun. With it kind of you destroying the paradox, quote unquote, that you were within. I thought that this Easter egg, in terms of the actual steps of the egg, is the most simplistic. I think it is the most straightforward. I think it's the one where the Easter egg just kind of makes sense, right? You use the robot to gift different parts and to kind of rebuild it. That is the Easter egg, right? I predicted this to be Easter egg. It became the Easter egg. Then you use the robot to fight the Shadowsmith, right? Super cool. You get this big fight, and then you have the ending cutscene, where I think the Easter egg is, or not I should say the Easter egg, but the story is the most important. How does the map end? The climax of the map, the boss fight is the gameplay section. The climax, the storyline of the map is supposed to be the ending cutscene, right? What is the climax of this map? Well, the climax of this map is the idea that if the Dark Ether no longer exists, the universe or the multiverse as we know it can no longer exist as well. That is the base of this map, right? That is the base of this Easter egg. So the thing that these characters, the Dark Ether, the thing that our characters have been fighting to destroy since Cold War, no longer it should be their motive. Basically, everything that we've been doing since Cold War, null and void, doesn't matter, because if you destroy it, you will destroy everything. These Shadowsmith, we are bringing them back free because they are the ones that have ruled over the Dark Ether, and the Warden has trapped them, and now we are freeing them. The Dark Ether is so important in this map, in this game story, that it is no longer kind of our main focus. Kind of an interesting concept. The idea that we are retconning everything is maybe a little bit like, to some people. Some people might not love it. I don't mind it because I feel like it kind of, I don't want to say resets, but it kind of changes our character's perspective. And now we can fight alongside the Shadowsmiths against the Warden without the ultimate goal that we're going to actually destroy these Shadowsmiths as well. We no longer have that goal. And I think it's interesting that the characters just flat out believe Dravakar. But I guess the question is, what else is there to believe? Right? But what I think is interesting, I think the biggest downside of this map story is that there's no Warden involvement, basically at all. No Warden. And that's in all parts of this map. The side Easter eggs, the main Easter egg, the storylines, the radios. I mean, the Warden's in like 2 radios. The Warden's not in this map at all. Why? He is the best narrated villain since Dr. Monty. My favorite villain since Monty. He has a great aura about him. But we are consistently freeing the people that he has trapped. And he's just from the side watching like, yeah, damn, they got another one. Ah, damn, they got another one. Well, sucks to suck. Oh, they got Caltheris. Oh, shit. Oh, they got to drive a car. Oh, man. You know, it's like, why is he just sitting there watching? Why has he had, like, basically zero impact? Okay, he teleported us to the Paradox of Paradox Junction. Okay, then we got out using the twins, and now he has no impact to drive a car. Now, theories are that the twins kind of block him from getting kind of intervening with us. That could be true. But if that is the case, I don't think that they've done a good enough job at kind of explaining that. You got a little bit of an explanation at the end of Paradox Junction's ending Easter egg, but I feel like that should be more of a prevalent thing that, hey, this big bag warden, he's not just a dumbass sitting on the sideline. He's sitting there because of the twins. That's the case, sure, but they should have explained it better, or they should have mentioned it multiple times, because Paradox Junction ending Easter egg cutscene is just ass. This ending cutscene has some good dialogue. Richtofen, I think, is super funny in the ending cutscene. But once again, we go to Weaver, who's actually had 0 quotes since the ending of Shattered Veil. Reckoning, Ashes, Paradox, Astra, and this map, Weaver hasn't said a single word. I thought the voice actor was dropped. Nope. He's got different new voice lines in Totenreich. He just doesn't say anything in any cutscenes, I guess. The map about him, he said he didn't say shit. He didn't say, oh my fucking god, fuck. He didn't even say that. He just said nothing. So that's a bit of an interesting thing. No warden as the main villain in a zombies map where we're literally fighting against him is a bit bizarre. But if the twins are the reason why, then they should have sort of, I guess, said that in this zombies map better. Not just in Paradox, but they should have implemented it into this zombies map as well. Now, the map story, I think, is one of the strongest things about this zombies map, right? I think that this map story specifically is awesome. Richtofen, in one zombies map, his story became more interesting than every story of every other character combined. That side Easter egg with Richtofen, where we see him sort of confront and sell his soul to a demonic character, Von List, a different dimensions version of Von List, I should add, is absolutely fantastic. The way that he sacrificed 400 people, the way he nuked New York and killed 7 million, I think it is some of the best story, some of the best dialogue, the best story of any zombies map since, since like Black Ops 4. This is so good. Richtofen's story in this game. I think it's utterly fantastic. I think Richtofen is otherworldly in this game. I think it's so cool to see him involved, and I am such a big fan of it. His story with the Dark Ether is the best part of this map. It is the #1 part of Totenreich, and it's the #1 thing getting people talking. The radios and the secret radios, whether you type 115, whether you type 935, and I think there's another code as well with that side Easter egg. The radios of this map are very strong. You also have the in-map Easter egg of the Shadowsmiths talking to the characters. The Shadowsmiths of the previous maps talking to characters. You have a very nice kind of interaction between Gray and Caltheris, where she confronts Gray about taking basically Max's DNA. Really cool. You have the character of the first zombie map by Ethereum talking to Dempsey about how he kind of struggles with this PTSD of his war, and kind of asking about his homeland. You have some great interactions between Nikolai and Caltheris as well. I think the interaction between Maya and Vytherian is a little bit forgettable, I will add. But I think that overall, some really, really strong interactions between all characters and their Shadowsmiths. And it's one of the cooler parts of this game, how the previous Shadowsmiths are kind of tied with these characters. And we have really fun dialogue between the two. There's some great dialogue as well with Maxis in this map. Some dialogue between Peck and Strauss that I find a little bit forgettable. But this map overall, the strongest part of it is the storyline underneath the atmosphere. The atmosphere of the map doesn't do the actual underlying story of it justice. We don't see the actual massacres that occur. We don't see the massacres of the storyline in the atmosphere. We don't see the massacres of the storyline in the Easter egg. We see the massacres in the side Easter eggs and the underneath hidden parts. And I love when there's parts of maps that are underneath and then you gotta go find it. I think that's awesome. But that can't be the only thing there. There needs to be more to the map. It's not like this map is super awesome atmosphere and there's some hidden things underneath. It's some awesome hidden things underneath with an atmosphere that doesn't match it. And it's unfortunate. But we're not talking about the atmosphere. We're talking about a story with no Warden Shore, a story with basically Weaver being non-existent, but fantastic in-map storytelling and fantastic character dialogue and interactions between Shadowsmiths, between each other, and some very fun banta, as Drewski would say. I think there's some great parts of this map and this storyline. I think it's the strongest storyline in modern zombies. I don't think it compares to the old Ether storyline, but I think this is one where I said that I'm going to compare these to Ether. It's harder to compare this to Ether because it's not even the same. It's completely different, even though it tries to kind of call back to the Ether storyline. I think it's the strongest part of this game, strongest part of this map. I give it 8 out of 10. Very strong. I think the story is very good, especially the in-map. I think the map part of the Easter egg, I think that's a 9.5 out of 10. I think the actual whole story Easter egg, including the whole part of the story, including the Easter egg, the ending boss fight, all that, I'm gonna give that a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. But I'm gonna start with an 8 here. We'll get rid of the 9. We'll start with the 8 out of 10 there. We'll go to Easter egg. Easter egg, right? Now, side Easter eggs, I'm gonna put in the extras part, gameplay extras. Easter egg itself, I think, is a little bit of a different part. Storyline, I think, is 5% of the map. 5%. That's 60. That's 25. That's 5%, right? And this is looking at it from not my perspective, but from the perspective of the average player. I think I would rate this a little bit differently. I think I'd make the Easter egg higher, the story higher, atmosphere same. I think Wonder Weapon go down. That's just me, but that's just me, right? But for the casual player, for the average player, it's only like 5% of what they think about. The Easter egg itself, simplistic, straightforward, short hunt, right? Only 4.5 hour hunt, right? I believe it is the shortest of the game so far. I think it's the shortest of the game. Paradox was the longest. I think Astra and Ashes was longer, not by much, like 6-7 hours. But I think that Paradox was like, what, 12? So getting a long hunt for Paradox was cool. This Easter egg is very simplistic. You still have the rebuilding of the robot, but this Easter egg, although being simplistic, I think that could be a good thing. I think it's accessible. I think that this Easter egg is accessible to all players. As long as you can make it around 30, you can do this Easter egg, especially in standard. You know, with the directing mode coming out, that would be nice too. But I think that's super fun. I love that part of this game. I love the accessibility part of it. I think that this Easter egg, once you get the Ether Barrage, once you get the Wonder Weapon, and once you do the couple of steps, it's done. It's a very simplistic Easter egg. You know, it's not simplistic like Forsaken, where the Wonder Weapon's the whole quest, but I feel like the quest itself is pretty simple. You know, you get the generator, you put it in the transmission or transmuser or whatever you call it, and you throw in the robot. You have the step where you punch the box open with Melee Macchiato, or not Melee Macchiato, with the Wonder Weapon, I'm sorry. You have the step of the Easter egg with the claw machine, which I think is the most complex step of the Easter egg, but not even that difficult. You know, you kind of trial and error it a little bit. Overall, it's a simplistic hunt. It's straightforward. It is not complex. And I think it is strong. I think it's a strong Easter egg that I think is overall super fun. But where this Easter egg shines is the Wonder Weapon. That is where this Easter egg shines. The Wonder Weapon in the boss fight. The Wonder Weapon part of this Easter egg is awesome. You know, we talked about the actual quest of the Wonder Weapon. Super fun. One of my favorite Wonder Weapon quests in a very long time. No upgrade quest, but one of my favorite quests. The middle steps, I think, are fine. They're not like the most difficult steps. They just don't actually have like any sort of real impact. They're like, okay, so you go fishing and you find the green fish. Okay. Like there's a little bit of quests like that. And every Easter egg needs that. So I think that's kind of run of the mill. But once you see the robot and Drevakar fight each other on the map, where you go to the back bridge and see them fight, and then you go to the boss fight. Wow, boss fight, man, what a boss fight. What a fucking awesome boss fight. I love it. I think the boss fight is so fucking fun. People don't like the floating head step. I disagree. I think it's super fun. I think it's super easy to do, actually. The fact that you have to, like, you know, there's like a barrier around when they attack them. You just get killed and then barely step in the barricade, shoot the boss, you'll be fine. I love the theatrics of it. I love that you fight alongside the robot, he defeats the robot, he fights you, then the robot comes back. I love the last step, the runes. I love the runes, right? This is handwriting, it's horrible, but I love the runes step of this Easter egg. where he'll kind of pull up symbols and then the symbols will attack you. It's the hardest part of the Easter egg, and I think that's super fun. I love that it's like a big epic finale. I love the music in the boss fight, the ho 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 ho. I love that. I think that is so good, and I'm such a big fan of the boss fight. I think it's awesome. The Easter egg, you know, I don't want to take too much time on it. I think it's strong. I think it's the strongest part of this map. I talked about the in-map storyline being strong. I think the Easter egg is even stronger. I think the Easter egg carries this map so heavy, and as a person that loves Easter egg, I love this Easter egg. I think it's the best Easter egg in the game. You know, I like Ashes of the Dam a lot. I like Ashes 2. Paradox is actually pretty good as well. This map game has been very strong with Easter egg. I think it's the strongest one. I think it's the strongest in Modern Zombies since Marauder Toten and Terminus. I think the boss fight is awesome. I would consider the boss fight one of the greatest ever. I would compare it to Citadel. I would compare it to Terminus. I'd compare it to 9 and Ancient Evil. Some of the other boss fights that I think are the best ever. I think the arena is super good. I think the Easter egg is where the map storyline shines, where the map environment shines, where the Wonder Weapon really shines, because you need the Wonder Weapon for the Easter egg. You need the Ether Barrage for the Easter egg. You need these other things, the Groff Module or whatever the fuck it's called in this map. The Glock Drop, I'm sorry. You need that for this Easter egg and to get Pack Punch and all that shit. So there is some very, very strong elements of the Easter egg that I think are the best versions of this map. This map is great for the Easter egg. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't see any issue with it. I know that some people want it to be more complex, wanted the hunt to be longer. You can't control the hunt, right? Sure, you can make Blundell, make a rock step for Rev, but you can't control the hunt. I'm looking at this purely from an Easter egg standpoint. How does the gameplay feel? How fun is it to go back in and play? I think this is one of the best Easter egg in Zombies history. I think it's a 10 out of 10. I think its difficulty is perfect. I think that the boss fight is great. I think it's a little bit more straightforward than the other Easter eggs. I'd consider this Easter egg along the best ever. Marauder Toten, Garrod Crovey, 9, Ancient Evil, Terminus. I think it's the same level of those. I think it's 10 out of 10. The best part of the Zombies map, Easter egg. 10 out of 10, I think it's really good. And that's my most important. But I think for the casual player, Easter egg's 5% again. You know, you don't go into every map playing the Easter egg. Now, me, I think my Easter egg is like 20% of the map. 15% of the map, whatever I might call it. But for the casual player, it's only 5%. So it's hard to kind of judge it based off of that. We have a 5 out of 10, 7 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, and a 10 out of 10 section of map. So everything about this map is at least average, right? We might be the most important part. Atmosphere is a 5 out of 10, but at least everything is at least average. Let's go into gameplay. We use my monkey bomb to hold the whiteboard. So let's see how gameplay works here. Gameplay is interesting because gameplay is very generic, right? This is gameplay. This is gameplay. This is gameplay. This is gameplay. They're all a part of gameplay as I throw my fucking marker. Gameplay and extras. What is things about this map that make it unique and different comparatively to other maps? So let me move my mic here. And let me just spitball some things that I think make this map unique. Okay, so this is the first map in a long time with unique score streaks, right? Kill streaks. So unique kill streaks, right? Super cool, right? Then you have the helmets. Awesome side Easter egg. You have the gnome, another fun side Easter egg. Yes, it's gonna get big up patch, but super fun side Easter egg. You have the super awesome storyline quests, right? The side Easter egg quest with Rick Topman and some super fun things about that. You have the turrets, the traps, not the turrets I should say, but the fire traps, which I think are super cool. You have the zip lines, the transportation method here. You have the locations, perk locations, pack punch locations, stuff like that. You have the pack punch quest, which I think is the very, very fun. You have the pack punch camo, which I think is a very strong camo in this game. The regular version and the curse version, even though you have 9 camos, but I think it is strong in this game. A lot of unique things about this map. These are things that you don't see in other zombie maps, right? Super fun. I think that is very, very strong. I think another unique part about the zombies map, or gameplay and extras, what else is a part of the zombies map? I would say that there is some, the snow rounds, the frost rounds. The frost zombies are strong. And the abilities of the frost zombies to be a part of the traps, be a part of the Wonder Weapon, which I will say, you know what, we'll go back over here. Wonder Weapon abilities, which I kind of talked about in the other parts. I think that is super cool to see that kind of return in this zombies map. I think that is super strong. I think that the Necropincer is probably the best special zombie in modern zombies, I would say. And also the fact that there is 0 elite enemies. Yes, I know Xursa's on this map from the One Web Quest. That doesn't matter. 0 elite enemies. Great choice, right? There's also basically no projectile enemies. Yes, the Necropincer has the javelin throw. That's very rare to actually get hit by. There is no projectile enemies. I also think a huge win. Huge win upon that front. No Necropincer projectile. I think that is a huge win upon that front. I also think that this is a lot, right? And that's just me spitballing, right? I think that there's some really powerful quests. I think that there's some other small additions, right? Things like grabbing the free tomahawk by the house, the free disciple inject in the church. You have, what else is there? So some other really strong things as well. The parkour part of the Wonder Weapon quest. Like things that I just feel like are gonna go unnoticed, but if you like the little details, you'll appreciate them. These are all parts of the map that I think are very strong. You have the gameplay, you have the extras, you have small additions. This is a win. This is another great part of the Zombies map, right? A lot of little extras. Unique kill streaks, something we've never seen. The helmet side Easter egg is super fun. The gnome side Easter egg is super fun. Other great storyline quests. You have the Necropincer, 0 elites, no projectile enemies, Pack-a-Punch quest, great camos, the Frost Zombies. I think the mixture of the Frost Zombies to the Necropincer is probably the best 1-2 combo in modern zombies in terms of spots, in terms of special enemies. Fantastic. These are all great additions to gameplay, extras, things like that I think are gonna go unnoticed. I'm not going unnoticed, but I think the best part, legacy weapon, like the MP40 is super awesome in this map. It's good to see it return. The MP40 is, I know it's in the game in general, it just feels like a Totenreich weapon though, doesn't it? Wish it was only in Totenreich, but it's great to see it return. This is super strong. Super fucking strong. The gameplay and extras are great. I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10 as well. I really think it's that strong. I think there's so much greatness about this map in the little shit. Talked about Expert Fusion with this, where these maps, it doesn't need to be about the quantity. It needs to be about the quality. Sure, there's other maps like Paradox Junction with fucking 9 power-up side Easter eggs. 9 power-up side Easter eggs do less than the helmet Easter egg. The helmet Easter egg is better than all the side Easter eggs on Paradox combined. That's just my opinion. So, gameplay and extras, super strong as well. We go into the full map, right? We have a lot of bullshit on here written. So, atmosphere, we gave a 5. Right? Wonder Weapon, we gave that a 7. Extras, we gave a 10. Easter egg, we gave a 10. Storyline, we gave an 8. Interesting. 5, 8, 7, 10, 10. As you can tell, this zombies map, I feel, is insanely strong in a lot of different fronts. I feel that this Easter egg is awesome in a lot of different areas. I think that the Wonder Weapon is insanely strong. I think that the gameplay is insanely strong. I should say in early rounds. Early rounds, right? That's terrible handwriting, but you get the point. Totenreich as a totality, I think is the best map in Black Ops 7. And it's hard for me to give a review. I think for the casual player, there is going to be times where you are going to look at this and say, well, it's got the modern zombies tax. So you got to bump it down a couple points because of armor, because of salvage, because of rarities. And I get it. I think that they're not great systems. I understand. But as a person that enjoys modern zombies, I can look past that. I think the casual player that doesn't enjoy modern zombies will see this map as a 6 out of 10. And I'm going to label it the casual OG. People from Black Ops 3, people from Black Ops 1 that might be showing in this map and enjoy a lot of things a part of it, but go, yeah, but it just doesn't scratch the itch that Kid or Toten did. It doesn't scratch the itch that Shadow of the Evil did and all these other maps. Casual OG, I think a group of players that got lost during Black Ops 4, partly in Black Ops 3 as well, because it was too complex. Shadows of Evil. That group, I think, is 6 out of 10. People that love classic zombies, eat their zombies, but doesn't like modern zombies. I think for the casual modern fan, I think that they're going to like this more because you're going to like the systems of modern zombies or at least tolerate them. And I think it's going to be something like, I think that's where this kind of list kind of will kind of portray you. I think the casual modern fan that can get over those systems will find this a 7 out of 10. I think that is going to be the really kind of bench press of this. I think that a casual modern fan is going to enjoy this a lot because this is where the casual modern fan is going to see the most important parts right here, atmosphere and wonder weapon, and it's the 2 weakest parts of the map. So you're only gonna get a 7 out of 10 from me because that's the 2 parts of the map that are most important to a casual fan. Now, a guy like me, and maybe you watching, if you're all the way here, thank you. But let's say the YouTubers that ruin zombies. As you guys love to say, even though it's not true, the YouTubers that ruin zombies. I know I wasn't a big YouTuber at that point, but I'm just saying, I'm still not. Still not. Please help me out, subscribe. Because all this shit is a lot. And I know it's just like guys shitting, throwing shit on down the screen, and an hour of yapping, but I understand, okay? Yaposaurus Rex over here, the legend at Yap D, I should say. YouTubers that ruin zombies, how would they feel about this map? I think this is the strongest map in modern zombies since Terminus. I think it's a map that I would put maybe in my top 10 after a long time. I think it's a map with the stronger one weapon, can be even higher. I think it's a map that I would give an 8.5. I think it's an 8.5. I think that a guy like me, you know, kind of goes for the Easter egg more. By the way, I never said that this is 5% as well. But I think a guy like me that goes for the Easter egg more. I think a guy like me that cares a lot about these extras and will do the helmet, will do the gnome, will do the storyline, will do the traps, will do this. Frost Zombie will care about the shit that other people just kind of forget about. I think a guy that really goes for high rounds and wonder weapon. This section that's better than this section is more important to me, even though this is the most important part of the map. I give it 8.5 out of 10. I think that if the wonder weapon had infinite damage, or at least didn't have such a drastic drop-off, I think I'd rate it a 9. I think if the map had more, you know, I want to say Nazi symbolism, but more of the symbolism that, hey, this is an area that is absolutely destroyed and was absolutely taken over, not just abandoned. This map has the potential to be 10 out of 10 because the Easter egg is that strong, the wonder weapon design is that good, and the gameplay extras are that fucking strong. This map has potential to be 10 out of 10, but because the atmosphere is a little bit lacking and the wonder weapon doesn't kill past round 50, I think that is an 8.5 for people. So overall, my Totenreich review, I think it's a solid map. For me, I would give the map an 8.5 out of 10. That is my review personally, but for other people, maybe you feel a little bit differently, right? Let me know what you guys think. These are kind of the elements that I feel about this map. A lot of very strong parts of this map. And I feel like this right here is such an important part of zombies, and I'm just such a big fan of it. So I guess I'll close off the video by saying thank you all if you guys made it this far. I do hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, please make sure to like and subscribe. I will give you guys a little bit of an announcement here that I am now partnered. I haven't partnered for a while, but I haven't really taken advantage of it. But I'm now an affiliate with Razer. Yes, the people that make keyboards, headphones, and other PC parts. So if you have part of your PC that you need to cop, and you also want to support your favorite small creator that a lot of people know he probably questions his sexuality. Okay, I'm just kidding about that part. But if you want to support your favorite small zombies creator, please click the affiliate link down below. But only if you guys are looking for that. If you guys aren't looking for it, then subscribing and leaving a like is, I swear to God, that is the most important thing. So make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And if you made it this far, comment legendary tits. And if you comment that, I will pin your comment. First one I see, I'll pin your comment. All right. Thank you all so much. Like I said, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. This is my video. This is everything I had to say. What are the strongest, you know what? One more thing. What are the strongest parts of this zombies map? Out of everything I said, I'm going to pick 5. First thing I'm going to say is the boss fight. Next thing I'm going to say is the Necropincer / Zero Elite enemies. I'm going to put that as 1. Next thing I'm going to say, the strongest part of this map is the Wonder Weapon quest. Great design. Next part of this map, I'm going to say the Richtofen story. And the last part of this map that I think is the strongest, I'm going to go with the helmets. Notice how 4 of the 5 are in the parts that won't matter to 85% of the map review. All right. Well, thank you all so much. Like I said, leave a like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought. And I'm not Mr. Roth Waffles, but I am a dumbass just writing shit down. So thank you all so much. And I will see you, ladies and gentlemen, in the next video. You guys have a good one.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.